judge by the Spirit, not the flesh. Shalom. First and foremost, giving all praises, honor, glory, respect, and blessings to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rachak Wadash. Salutations to the Lord's elect on the four quarters of the earth, pushing this truth and sincerity while patiently waiting for Yahweh Shai's return. And double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone, which have taught us everything we know through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. And I just wanted to do a response video that was done by the brother Amawan Ibad. You know, the water to that brother for making this video. You know, I'm gonna go ahead and play this video and continue from there.
These people are not black.
I'm gonna tell you ahead of time, this is gonna hurt a lot of people's feelings. The people I'm about to name on this list is frauds and they not really black people. You understand? Having melanated skin don't make you a Negro according to blood.
And you're absolutely right about that. You know, because in the book of Matthew, Yahushua spoke about the wheat and the tares. Now, during the time of slavery, okay, the slave master, what he would do was he would take an Israelite woman, rather if she was already betrothed to an Israelite man who was a slave or not. Okay, well, what the slave master would do was that if he saw an Israelite woman that was beautiful, she might have had a nice body or whatever, what he would do was he would take the woman away from her man. He would literally force her into his house and he would rape her. Okay, he would rape her, you know, and condoms did not exist back then. So what he would do was he would rape the slave woman, and not just once, but he would do it on multiple accounts. Okay, he would rape the slave woman, and then afterwards he would send her back out in the field to work, to pick cotton, tobacco, fruits, vegetables, you name it, you know. And this happened to thousands of Israelite slave women, which the Israelites are the so-called Negro, Latino, and Native Indians. And it goes even deeper than that. You know, when you go back to the book of Deuteronomy, the Lord said in Deuteronomy 28 verse 15 that if we did not keep his laws, statutes, and commandments, that all the curses of Deuteronomy and Deuteronomy 28 verse 16 on down to 68 will come upon us and overtake us until we have been destroyed. Now, according to Jeremiah chapter 17 verse 4, we have been discontinued from our heritage, which is also a part of the curses, because you can line that up with Deuteronomy the 28th chapter, where the Lord said that he would scatter us on the four corners of the earth, north, east, south, and west. Okay, so because we've been scattered on the four corners of the earth, you know, a lot of Israelites were born on this planet not looking like your average Israelite. So a lot of Israelites were born on this planet, you know, looking like the other nations, because, you know, well, like this dude that you see on the screen, like he said in this video, your nationality, not your race, but your nationality is based on who your father is. So wherever the Israelite man likes to go, rather if he's spread amongst these other nations, he likes to have sex with the women of those nations. Okay, and because he has sex with the women of those nations, you know, rather if it be a Chinese woman, a Japanese woman, an East Indian woman, an Arabian woman, an African woman, a Hawaiian woman, a so-called white woman from overseas, like a Russian woman or European woman, you know, a lot of those women ended up pregnant with Israelite babies, thus giving birth to Israelites. Now, those babies might come out looking more like their mothers, which their mothers might be heathen of another nation, right? So then that baby that is an Israelite, you know, he grows up and he ends up having sex with the women of that nation. So guess what? That baby that's going to come out of that woman, that baby is going to be an Israelite, but that baby is going to look like a heathen. That baby is going to have heathenistic looking features about it. So that baby might look like an Arabian. That baby might look like a Chinese person. That baby might look like a Japanese person. That baby might look like a so-called Jew. That baby might look like an African, a so-called white person, or even a Hawaiian. But guess what? The spirit inside that baby is that of an Israelite. And at the end of the day, it goes even deeper than just the flesh. You got to go by the spirit. Because Yahweh is the father of all spirits. So if the Lord sees that an Israelite man got a woman pregnant, whether if it be a Chinese, Japanese woman, an Arabian woman, East Indian woman, etc., etc., he's going to take the spirit of an Israelite and put it inside of the body of the baby that's in that woman. So then that woman, whether if she be Chinese or Japanese or African, or whether that woman be East Indian, whatever, when that woman gives birth to that baby, the baby that's going to come out of that woman's womb is going to be an Israelite. Why? Because the spirit inside that baby is that of an Israelite. So it goes deeper than just the flesh. You got to go by the spirit. If the Lord sees that an Edomite, a so-called white person, have sex with an Israelite woman, the Lord is going to take the spirit of an Edomite and send it inside the body of that baby. And when the Israelite woman gives birth to that baby, the baby that's going to come out of that woman's womb is going to be that of an Edomite. Why? Because the spirit inside that baby is that of an Edomite. Okay? So a person's nationality is based on who the father is. If the Lord sees that a East Indian man have sex with a Chinese woman, okay, the Lord's going to take the spirit of an East Indian and send it inside the body of that baby. And when the baby come out the womb of that Chinese woman, that baby is going to be an East Indian. Why? Because not only is the father of that baby an East Indian, but the spirit inside that baby is that of an East Indian. Why? Because the father is an East Indian. You see? So your nationality is based on who your father is. Okay? So there's going to be Israelites, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Indians. You know, there's going to be Israelites that's going to look like people of the other nations. Why? Because we have been scattered on the four corners of the earth. So like I said earlier, during the time of slavery, the Israelite woman was raped on many different accounts, thus giving birth to tares. Okay? Chocolate-covered Edomites. Why? Because their father was an Edomite, a slave master.
So we're going to start over with
Louis Farrakhan.
Louis Farrakhan is not a black man. Now, I know y'all get that confused because of how...
You're right. Louis Farrakhan is not a black man. He is a Hebrew Israelite, and I'm going to prove it.
What he supposedly did for black people.
Okay, there's no such thing as a black or white person, okay? We are different shades of brown. Okay? You see the screen right here where my pointer's at? That is black. Ain't nobody this color. We are different shades of brown. There ain't no such thing as no black or white person. Okay, black and white, the term black or white race came from the so-called white man. Okay? You're not going to hear about no black or white person in the Holy Scriptures. Everybody in the Holy Scriptures, okay, everybody on this planet has a biblical nationality that exists in the Holy Scriptures.
However, he's not a black man. His father is white.
Kamala Harris.
Over to Kamala Harris.
Now, you're right about Kamala Harris, okay? Kamala Harris is actually a tare, okay? Her father is a so-called Jew. So her father go back to the small hats, the 1948ers. So Kamala Harris is actually a tare.
She is not a black woman. Her father is a white man, and her mother is an East Indian. But I know she fooled y'all because she put hot sauce in her bag and made y'all vote for her. But nonetheless, she's not a black woman.
Bob Marley.
Bob Marley, he's not a black man. His father is a white man. But
Bob Marley is an Israelite, okay? His father go back to the Irish, you know, with which the Irish go back to the Moors. So you can better understand, okay? And as a matter of fact, you probably don't know this, but a lot of those so-called Irish people who lineage went back to so-called Negroes, right? A lot of those Irish people went into slavery, whether if you believe it or not. Okay, you want to know what the slave masters used to call the Irish people during the time of slavery? They used to call them potato niggers. Now, why would you call an Irish person a potato nigger? Because the slave masters that had the Irish people in slavery knew that those Irish people, their father's lineage on their father's side went back to so-called Negroes, who was calling themselves Moors when they was ruling Europe. Okay, so Bob Marley is actually a Jake, man. Okay, just listen to the lyrics in his song. Okay, forget about the beat. Listen to what he says in his music. Ain't no Edomite got soul like that. Ain't no Edomite got no soul like Bob Marley does. Bob Marley got soul in his music.
I know he fooled a lot of black people because he was a huge advocate for being a drug addict and smoking all of the weed in the world. However, Bob Marley, he ain't a black man.
Nipsey Hussle.
I'm gonna crush a lot of your feelings, but Nipsey Hussle, he's not a black man. He's an Ethiopian. His father is an Ethiopian, but I know he fooled a lot of.
Well, guess what? Whether if you believe it or not, during the time of Paul, there were a lot of Israelites living in Ethiopia. And a matter of fact, let me just get it real quick, because the scriptures speak about the Ethiopian eunuch. Okay? Okay? Because the scriptures speak about the Ethiopian eunuch, which it was not an actual Ethiopian. It was an Israelite who came from Ethiopia. Okay? Ethiopian. And he went to the eunuch and said, understandeth KJV. Okay? So I'm just going to get it real quick, then I'm going to continue on with the lesson. Okay? So, just a moment here. Satan is at work. Okay, so this is Acts chapter 8, and I'm going to just start at Gaza desert. Okay. Okay, and he rose away. Okay. And I believe Philip was one of the deacons, if I remembered correctly. Okay. I believe Philip was one of the 7 deacons. So I'm going to read this right here. The book of Acts chapter 8 verse 26. And the angel of the Lord spake unto Philip, saying, Arise and go toward the south unto the way that goeth down from Jerusalem unto Gaza, which is desert. Okay. And Philip arose and went, and behold, a man of Ethiopia. Now, was this an actual Ethiopian? No. Okay. Because the truth, the gospel, is only for the Israelites. The proof of that was when Yahushua confronted a woman that was a Hamite, because the original Ethiopians, they're Hamites. Okay. But Yahushua confronted a woman that was a Hamite at the well, and basically he told her as like, look, You worship you know not what, but we know what we worship, for salvation is of the Jews. So what? In a way, Yahushua was telling her ass, her Hamitic ass, that she was not an Israelite. So the gospel was not for her. Okay? So this was an Israelite man who was coming from Ethiopia. Okay? So the book of Acts chapter 8 verse 27, and he arose and went, and behold, a man of Ethiopia, an eunuch of great authority under Candace, queen of the Ethiopians, who had the charge of all her treasure, and had come to Jerusalem for to worship. Okay, so this man came to Jerusalem for to worship. So this man had the spirit of an Israelite. Okay, and he wasn't just coming to Jerusalem to just worship any old thing. No, this Ethiopian eunuch was coming to worship Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai. Okay, because only Israelites are going to worship Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai, especially in spirit and in truth. Okay, Acts chapter 8 verse 28. It says, we know, I'll just start up here. And had come to Jerusalem for to worship, was returning and sitting in his chariot. Read Isaiah the prophet. Then the Spirit said unto Philip, now listen closely. This is a spirit, okay? The Spirit. The Spirit is not going to tell Philip to go near unto a heathen and speak unto him, okay? Remember, Yahweh is the father of all spirits. So the Most High knows what he's doing. Okay? It says, then the Spirit said unto Philip, go near and join thyself to this chariot. To whose chariot? The chariot of the Ethiopian eunuch. And Philip ran thither to him, and heard him read the prophet Isaiah, and said, understandest thou what thou readest? And he said, how can I, except some man should guide me? So this Ethiopian eunuch had a humble spirit on him. And he desired Philip that he would come up and sit with him. Okay, so that's the point. Okay, the fact that this was an Ethiopian eunuch living in Ethiopia proves that there were Israelites living in Ethiopia. Now, this was 2,000 plus years ago. How much more now? Okay? There's a lot of Israelites that are still living in Africa. Okay? Okay? So this man's father might go back to an Ethiopian, but guess what? There were a lot of Israelites living in Ethiopia. So guess what? Nipsey Hussle is a Jake, okay? Nipsey Hussle is an Israelite. Okay? But again, it goes back to reading the spirits. You got to learn how to read spirits. You just can't assume somebody's nationality based on just their father alone. You got to read the spirit. You know, what is this person like? How does he like his food? Can he dance? Now, don't get me wrong. Not every Israelite is going to know how to dance. You know, the Lord had blessed every Israelite with their own unique talents in which they greatly excel at. Some Israelites greatly excel at dancing. Some Israelites greatly excel at singing. Some Israelites greatly excel at basketball. Some Israelites greatly excel at football, but they're not all that good at dancing. Some Israelites greatly excel at rapping, but they may not be all that good at basketball. Some Israelites excel at acting, but they may not be that good at art. Some Israelites excel greatly at gaming, but they may not be all that good at boxing. Some Israelites might excel at boxing, but they may not be all that good at playing football or basketball. And then you got some Israelites who are multi-talented. Some Israelites can dance, play basketball, you know, do this, that. But at the end of the day, you got to learn how to read the spirit. Because we know Edomites ain't got no flavor. We know Hamites ain't got no flavor. We know heathens don't have no flavor. The salt was given to the Israelites, which are the so-called Negro, Latino, and Native Indians. So you got to read the spirit. You know?
The black people, because of the life it is that he lived. Nipsey Hussle died the death of a black man. Nonetheless, he's not a black man. Listen, that ain't nothing personal, man. You understand? I know y'all keep hearing me say the father, the father, the father, because the father's seed plays a significant role in determining what race you belong to.
Yeah, you're right about that. But it goes deeper than that. You got to read the spirit.
And according to the Bible, you are what your father is. You understand? So, it ain't nothing personal, man. You got to leave your feelings at the door. If y'all don't agree, it's a comment section down below. But the people that's on this list, according to the Bible, whether you like it or not, they not black people.
Okay, so so this dude, right? He said that Louis Farrakhan is not an Israelite, right? So if we come over here, this is Louis Farrakhan's father. I'll go ahead and close that out. Okay, this is Louis Farrakhan's father, as you see right here. His father's name is Percival Clark, if I'm saying that correctly. Okay, and this man was a taxi driver. You know, he died in 1936. It says right here that his nationality is Jamaican. Okay, so Louis Farrakhan would actually be from the tribe of Benjamin. He would be a Benjaminite. So where's you getting this idea that Louis Farrakhan is white? Well, let's go over here and click on Wikipedia. Okay, because they clearly tell you that his father is Jamaican. Okay, so this is Farrakhan, you know, this is his early life and education. Farrakhan was born Louis Eugene Walcott on May 11th, 1933 in the Bronx. Okay, now the Bronx is one of the worst places you can live at in the United States of America. Okay, the Bronx will be considered the ghetto, which when you read the book of Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, okay, the Lord said that the Israelites would be at the bottom, which the ghetto would represent the bottom. The slums, the ghettos, the reservations, that's all a part of the curses of Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, that the Lord said would come upon the Israelites. So Farrakhan was born Louis Eugene Walcott on May 11th, 1933 in the Bronx, New York City, the younger of two sons of Sarah Mae Manning, 1900 to 1988, and Percival Clark, immigrants from, okay, now listen closely. They said that Percival Clark is an immigrant. What does that mean? That means that Percival Clark is not from the United States of America. That means that he's from Jamaica. Now we know that a lot of West Indians, they served slavery over there in the land of Jamaica. Okay? A lot of Jamaicans served slavery over there. A lot of those so-called Jamaicans, who are also known as West Indians, we know they served slavery over there in Jamaica. Okay? So Percival Clark is called an immigrant. Why? Because he's not from the United States of America. He's from Jamaica. So it says from the Anglo-Caribbean islands. Okay, immigrants from the Anglo-Caribbean islands. As a matter of fact, let's go to Google and type in Anglo-Caribbean islands. Okay, let's see where that's at. Okay. Copy. Okay, let's see. Where is paste? Where is Anglo-Caribbean Islands? Okay. It says this chapter examines the situation of Anglophone Caribbean, commonly referred to as British West Indies. Okay. These countries include Jamaica. Bermuda, and let me tell you something. A lot of these so-called West Indians, they live in these parts of the Anglo-Caribbean islands. A lot of the so-called Jamaicans live in these areas, such as Jamaica, Bermuda, Saint Vincent, and the Grenadines, the Bahamas, Antigua, and Barbuda, and Montserrat, the Cayman Islands, Dominica, Trinidad and Tobago, Turks and Caicos Saint. Okay, so all these particular areas I just named are a part of the Anglo-Caribbean Islands. Okay, so Percival Clark and Sarah May Manning, okay, they are immigrants from the Anglo-Caribbean Islands. His mother was born in St. Kitts, while his father was Jamaican. So his father was born in Jamaica. Okay, but here's where this dude gets the idea that Farrakhan is so-called white. Okay, it says in a 1996 interview with Henry Louis Gates Jr. Okay, he speculated that his father Gene may have been Jewish. Okay, and where do you get that idea from? Okay. Okay. But anyways, you know, we are talking about the devil here. After all, Jake wants to be Esau so bad. You know, Jake wants his father to be a so-called white person so bad. Yeah, see, look, my daddy's white. See, you know. But you know what? That's what happens when you're born in captivity and your oppressors have rule over you. You want to be like your oppressor so bad. But what did the scripture say? Envy not thou the oppressor and choose none of his ways. You know? Because I remember when I was young, man, you know, a lot of people who had white fathers, especially when I was in school, a lot of people who had white fathers, they were proud of it. Look, my daddy's white. You know, that person was greatly respected in class. So yeah, I see where Farrakhan is coming from. But guess what, Farrakhan? Your father is not Jewish, okay? Your father is a West Indian, a so-called Jamaican from the tribe of Benjamin, which makes Farrakhan what? That makes Farrakhan an Israelite of the tribe of Benjamin, because your nationality is based on who your father is. So now check this out. It says the couple. It says the couple. Okay. Percival and Sarah May separated before their second son was born, and Farrakhan says he never knew his biological father, and that's a part of the curses. Okay. Now let's go to the King James Bible. You know what? Let's go to the Blue Letter Bible. Let's go to the Blue Letter Bible. Okay. Let's go to the blueletterbible.org, because that's a part of the curses. Okay. If you are born an Israelite, it's going to be very common for you to grow up not knowing who your father is. Okay? Hey, I barely know anything about my father, you know? My younger brother, he barely know anything about his father. You know, if you're an Israelite born in this society, a part of the curses that you're gonna undergo is the curse of Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, where the Lord said that you know, if you're an Israelite, you're gonna grow up not knowing who your father is. So I'm gonna just type in Deuteronomy 28 verse 15, and then I'm gonna type in Central F here and type in woman. Okay, so this is Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 56. I'll go ahead and exit out of this. It says, the tender and delicate woman among you, which will not venture to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness, her eye shall be evil toward the husband of her bosom. What does that mean? That means that she's going to kick him out the house. She's going to be nasty towards him. There's going to be arguments between them. There's going to be this and that. She might even throw her shoe at him. You know, she might yell at him, throw things at him. She might tell him to get the fuck out the house. And then after she kick him out the house, she might divorce him, put him on child support, and then she might put out a restraining order so that he can go nowhere near her. So then here it is, you're a baby growing up, and as soon as you grow up, you realize you only got one parent figure in the house, and that's your mother. Meanwhile, you know, you grow up being a child, you might be 8, 9 years old in preschool, you know, you see these children, you see their mom and their dad bringing their children to school, but then you wondering, like, well, where's my daddy at? So then you go home, being 8, 9 years old, you question your mother, Mom, do I have a dad? You know, she might tell you, yeah, you know, but then she might give you some short bullshit story like he wasn't shit, you know, he was doing this and that, and you know, don't be like him, and you know, so you know, like, and that's very common amongst women, you know, if you're a Hebrew Israelite, if you're born a Hebrew Israelite, a so-called Negro, Latino, or Native Indian in this society, okay, very commonly you're going to grow up not knowing who your father is. Okay, so I just read it right here, right? The scripture said that her eye shall be evil toward the husband of her bosom. So a woman, her eye is going to be evil towards her husband. She's going to kick him out the house, put him on child support, and then put a restraining order on him. And in most cases, she might even move out of state. She might move to a different state, leaving your father behind completely. So then you may never know who your father is or what your father was truly like. Because 9 times out of 10, when it comes to there being a controversy in the household, it always starts with the woman. Because here it is, you know, your father, he could be a decent man, working a decent job, you know, from 9 to 5. He could even be working 2 jobs, have a car, a decent home. He's taking good care of himself, you know. He might even have his whole life planned out. And then he meets your mother, you know, he treated your mother like the woman she deserved to be, you know. He treated her well, took her out to eat, bought her clothes, spent quality time with her, you know. And just like that, they fall in love. But what happens, you know, she becomes pregnant, and then Satan starts jumping on her, you know. And then right after she gives birth, right after she gives birth to you, you know, here it is, life goes on, you know. Your father, he continues to do the right thing, you know. He's working his job, he's doing everything to provide for the house, you know. He's providing shelter, clothes, food, you know. And then, you know, he might come home to his woman, right? And, you know, she just, you know, Satan jump on her. So now she got an attitude out of nowhere. You're like, yo, like, where's this attitude coming from? Wiggling her head and shit. You know, like, and you know, it'd be an ongoing thing. You know, he might have had to put up for it for like 2 or 3 years. You know, which that would make you like 2 or 3 years old. So for 2 or 3 years, he's been putting up with this woman's just nasty attitude. I mean, maybe here and there, maybe 4 or 5 days out of the whole month, she's in a good mood. You know, and she might apologize and kiss and you know, but after a while, the negative aspects of her starts to kick in more and more and more, to the point to where you just start getting tired of it. No, now you coming home because you in a bad mood because your boss don't chew you out at work. So you coming home to your woman and here she is, you know, already, you know, she got this attitude problem about her. You know, nigga, do it yourself, and right before you know it, an argument break out. You know, now there's a bunch of yelling going on. You know, the baby crying in the background, and just like that, man. Just like that, the man is out the house. And guess what? It was not really his fault. It was the woman's fault. You know? And then come to find out, you know, he finds out she's been sleeping around on him and shit. You know? So you see, now you start to understand why the scriptures say her eye, the woman, you know, the man's wife, her eye shall be evil towards the husband of her bosom. So by the time you reach the age of 7 and 8, you realize that you don't see your father at all. You don't even know who your father is. And when you ask your mother about your father, she has nothing but a negative story about him. And 80% of the shit she say about him, more than likely, is not true. But that's all a part of the curses, you see. So the fact that Farrakhan grew up not knowing who his father is, that proves that he's also under the curses of Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter. Okay? I mean, come on. He was born and raised in the Bronx of New York's, of the Bronx of New York. Okay? That's the ghetto. Matter of fact, let's scroll up here to the 40th chapter, okay? Let me see. Okay, Deuteronomy 28 verse 44, it says, he shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head. Who shall be the head? The so-called white man. Okay, he shall be the head. He's at the top right now. He's ruling the earth. Job 9 and 24, the earth is given into the hands of the wicked. He covered up the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? Okay, in the book of Genesis, the 27th chapter, Esau was blessed with the fatness of the earth. So who has control over the whole earth today? The wicked, the Edomites. And that's starting with the so-called elites, trickling down to the rest of their nation and people. Okay? So he, the so-called white man, starting with the so-called elites, he shall be the head. He's at the top right now, okay? He's the top dog on the planet right now. But not for long. It says, and thou shall be the tail. The thou is talking about who? The thou, okay? The thou is talking about the Israelites. So the Israelites will be the tail. Where's the tail at? The tail is at the bottom. So right now, we're at the bottom. We are at the bottom in this society. Whether we're living in the ghettos, the slums, the reservations, whether if we're poor, you know. Because no matter how hard Louis Farrakhan tries, he's still under the curses. You know? Okay, so you got to go by the spirit, man. You can't judge off of appearance. You got to go by the spirit. You know, how does this man sing? How does he dance? How does he play ball? How does he box? because we know that Edomites don't really have any talent, you know. But we know Israelites have talent. Israelites greatly excel at talent and skills and wisdom. But especially wisdom when it comes to talent. Now, let's go to 1 Samuel chapter 16, verse 9. Let's see what it says here. Okay. Let me see. Bear with me for one moment. Oh, you know what? Salak. I'm pretty sure that's see Central F. Let's type in man. Okay, here it is. Okay, so this is the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 16, verse 7. It says, let me close this out. It says, but the Lord said unto Samuel, look not on his countenance or on the height of his stature, because I have refused him. For the Lord seeth not as man seeth, for man looketh on the outward appearance, right? And when the Lord said that man looketh on the outward appearance, he was talking about the carnal man. Because somebody who's carnal, they'll look at a person first glance. Oh, that's an Edomite right there. He might look like an Edomite on the outside, but he might have the spirit of a Jake on him. You know? So the Lord seeth not as man seeth. Okay? For the Lord seeth not as man seeth, for man looketh on the outward appearance, but Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh looketh on the heart. Right? The heart, which goes back to the Hebrew word lob, the heart, your mind, which the word lob means your mind. The word heart goes back to the Hebrew word lob, which means your mind. And your mind is where your spirit dwells at. Okay? Like, have you ever heard the saying, the eyes is the windows to the spirit? Okay? So like you might look into a woman's eyes, you know, and she might look into your eyes. And while you're both looking into each other's eyes, you feel some kind of spiritual connection. Why is that? Because you're looking into each other's spirit. Okay? So the mind is where your spirit dwells at. So the Lord looketh on the spirit. Okay? The Lord looketh on the spirit. Romans chapter 8 verse 16. Okay? Romans chapter 8 verse 16. It says the spirit beareth witness with our spirit. Right? The spirit beareth witness with our spirit that we are the children of the living power. So you can't just judge who's an Israelite and who's a heathen based on appearance, because then you're just being carnal. And a matter of fact, let's get that in the book of John. Oops, excuse me. John chapter 6 verse 63. Okay, John chapter 6 verse 63. It says, it is the spirit that quickeneth. Okay, it is the spirit that quickeneth. The flesh profiteth nothing. Right? Because at the end of the day, the flesh is not what holds the value. What holds the value is the spirit that's inside the flesh. That's just like a clam, for an example. Okay? One clam has a golden pearl in it. The other clam has a bronze pearl in it. Okay. Well, you know what? I'm gonna use a white pearl for an example. So the clam with the white pearl would be the Edomite, right? The clam with the golden pearl would be the Israelite. The pearl inside the clam would represent the spirit. The clam itself would represent the flesh, the body that holds the spirit. Okay? Now, the clam that holds the golden pearl is yellow. Okay? And the clam that holds the white pearl is brown. Now tell me, which pearl has which pearl has more value? The pearl with the gold, which clam has more value? The clam with the golden pearl or the clam with the white pearl? Because the clam with the golden pearl represents the Israelites. The clam with the golden pearl has more value. While the clam on the outside might be yellow, the pearl inside of that clam is while the clam might be yellow, the pearl inside of that clam is that of an Israelite. So at the end of the day, the flesh has no value. What holds value is the spirit that's inside of that body. Okay, and that's the point that I'm trying to make. Okay? So there could be an Edomite, right? There could be an Edomite. He might have brown skin and woolly hair, but guess what? He has no value. You know why? Because his spirit has no value, just like the white pearl inside of the brown clam. But now there might be an Israelite. He might look like a so-called white person, but guess what? He might know how to dance. He might be one of the best basketball players you'll ever meet in your life. This dude can dribble, run circles around the basketball court, you know. But guess what? The spirit inside that guy is the spirit of an Israelite. So the spirit in that man's body is what holds the value. Because it is the spirit that quickeneth, the flesh profiteth nothing. The words that I speak unto you, they are spirit and they are life. With that, I'm going to say, Shalom is on to the next one.